Senate Bill 376 is a follow-on to sort of a policy area that I've been working on now for about, probably 15 years, since a family came to me in Fairfax whose son was killed by a driver who was distracted by texting. The bill is basically an effort to try to create greater accountability for people who drive while distracted. The bill does a couple things. Just so you have an understanding of the problem, when an auto collision occurs, the information that's contained in somebody's telephone or in other electronics often is not preserved for when a lawsuit ends up being brought a year or 2 or 3 later. And so basically what the bill does is it says that whenever a collision occurs and somebody who's injured sends a letter to, well, first of all, it requires the law enforcement officer to collect information about people's cell phone, their cell phone carrier, and about their phones, so that the attorney for an injured person can then write to the carrier and ask the data be preserved for a 2 or 3 year period, so that if litigation becomes necessary, that data can then be obtained. The one other thing it does, which is also important, is you all may have noticed that a lot of auto insurance companies have now started to use something called telematics in order to provide adjustment information to figure out what rates to set people's insurance rates at. What that means is they put an app on your phone so that while you're driving, it can detect whether you're speeding or whether you're abruptly braking or having engaged in other risky driving behaviors, and they use that information in order to adjust your insurance premiums to make you a better driver. Well, that information could be very useful in the event of a collision, but there's no way to know whether a specific driver has it or not until after you file suit and start seeking it. By then, the data is all destroyed. So the bill also allows somebody to reach out to an insurance carrier to ask them, was your insured using a telematics app that has this data, and if so, preserve it. So with those few things put together, Madam President, I think this bill will help create more accountability for people who engage in risky driving behavior like distracted driving, which is resulting in more and more deaths and injuries on our roads every year. It costs all of us money. So, Madam President, I hope we could pass this bill to ensure that the laws we pass have some teeth and people will stop engaging in such risky behavior.
The question is, shall Senate Bill 376 pass? All in favor of that motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 23, noes 16.
Ayes 23, no 16. Senate Bill 376 passes.